Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to another session with Mr. Smith. And I know a lot of you, especially older folks, know this already. But you know, there's a lot of pure-hearted people out there who, especially young folks, who just want to, donate money and give money to causes and all this kind of stuff. But let's think about that for a second. Let's think about that, right? Did you know, for example, let's just take the Goodwill. I used to donate, whenever I used to donate my clothes and whatever to Goodwill, and I still occasionally will give maybe an old computer or an old television set, or I have done that, to the Goodwill, because at least somebody can take it and scrap it for parts and make something out of it, and maybe sell it. But did you know? And I didn't know this when I was a kid. Do you know the Goodwill just I would donate my clothes to the Goodwill, for example, and I just thought that they would deliver them to the homeless and give them out. Wrong. They set up Goodwill stores to sell the clothes that you give them. Now, that is a great business model. I give them clothes, they turn around and sell them. So I no longer give my clothes to the Goodwill, my old clothes. I go right to the homeless and ask them if they want this shirt, if they want this sweater, if they want these shoes. And if you haven't noticed, especially if you live in a big city, there's homeless everywhere now. So that's where I give my clothes. I'm not against donating or being charitable. Of course not. Of course not. I'm a follower of Christ, so of course I'm charitable. But I give it directly to them. No middlemen, no nothing like that. So these charities, they're everything, very shady. Another thing, if you work in an office or at a school or whatever, that charities go around, right, and try to solicit money from you. And of course, especially younger people, pure-hearted people that might come from, a high-level socioeconomic background, will just throw money at these charities. But what you really are doing when you give money to these charities is you're supporting somebody's job. You're paying their salary. And what is their job? To get money from you. Now, I was told that only a small percentage, like 10%, and don't quote me on that because I'm not entirely sure. I tried to do the research on it, and all I got was a bunch of confusing gobbledygook. No surprise there. But I tried to research if there's what law, because I was told it was you only had a charitable organization, a nonprofit organization, a 501c3 tax-exempt organization, federal tax-exempt organization. I was told they only have to use like 10% of the money that they get to the actual charity that they're promoting. The other rest of it goes towards the workers' salaries, and of course, business expenses. All right, so as long as you know that probably only a small percentage of your donation is actually going to help what they say it's going to help. As long as you know that, and hey, be my guest, donate to these organizations. But, me personally, I don't do that anymore. I go right to the source, right? And it really blew me away that Goodwill, and I think the Salvation Army does it as well, but I don't know about that. But It really blew me away when I started seeing Goodwill stores popping up like 20 years ago. And everybody just started realizing, hey, they're just selling the clothes that we gave them. You know, and it's laziness on our part. Ignorance and laziness on our part. We just, I don't want to deal with this extra junk, so I'm just going to give it to this organization. And of course, they turn around, fix it up, and sell it. Now, that's a good business. Okay? So, like I said, I no longer do that. I take my clothes right to the homeless. I can drive a couple miles, less than a couple miles, and there's little tent neighborhoods that I can go to. And I just go up to these people and I say, hey, I have some clothes and you guys need any. Right? That's how I would do it from now on. For those of you that are old enough to remember the late, great comic Sam Kinison, I'll never forget his little stand-up segment where he was joking about sending money to starving children in Africa. And, you know, little flies are buzzing around the kid in the commercial. And Sam Kinison jokes. He's doing the voice of the cameraman, and the cameraman is saying, oh, yeah, you got to make sure that kid looks all messy or this shizzle doesn't work. You know, nobody stops to think, although Sam Kinison made us think. This had to have been like 1990 or something. He made us think, wait a minute. If a whole camera crew's going over there and, taking an African baby and setting it up and putting flies around it, why not just give the kid something to eat? Or give it back to its mother and give the mother $100. You know. So something to think about, right? And Sam Kinison did die under strange circumstances. Supposedly he crashed his own car or something. It was some sort of automobile accident, very shady. But I don't want to get into that. We'll never know for sure. But if you don't know, the whole malaria thing in Africa is a joke. Right? Africans are like, what are you guys doing? Malaria, when you get bit by the tsetse fly, I think that's how you pronounce it. The malaria symptoms are usually a headache for a couple days, and there's a tree bark they use. They make a tea out of it, and you drink it, and it relieves the symptoms. It's like having a minor allergy issue. There's no reason to donate money to fight malaria in Africa. Let me remind you, Africans are not children. They know what they're doing. Okay? I mean, our media has portrayed Africa as like this just a bunch of children that don't know what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing. Okay? Just let them do their thing. The problem is, the reason why Africa is having problems is that there's people from other countries that don't want to that don't want to just leave them alone. Just leave them alone. How would you like it if the Africans came over here and started telling us how we should be living? And that we got to listen to their medicine and their this and that. Come on. How about minding your own business? Anyway, I don't want to get off topic too much. And then, here's another one for those of you that are old enough, right? This was big in the 70s and 80s and even into the 90s. They had the Jerry Lewis telethons. Now, for those of you that are young, when you'd watch TV, they would have a show that would go like all day, and they'd have entertainers come out and do skits and stuff, and then you would call in on your phone and donate money. And the money was supposedly go to like cancer research or some sort of research on a disease that people were having. Do you know those diseases are still with us? Nothing ever's been done. Never helped anything. None of those donations. Gee, where did that money go? Well, it did help. If you donated money on a Jerry's telethon, you probably helped pay a doctor's salary. That's what you did. Or a researcher's salaries. A guy sitting in the lab doing absolutely useless research every day. But he got paid for it. He helped him buy his house. Now, with the economy getting really, really tight, and I mean really, really tight, and it's gonna, I know some people want to believe it's going to get better, but it is not. Check out Jeremiah Babe's channel if you want a reality check. Okay? And then some of the channels that he's related to. Check out This is John Williams, especially if you guys live in California. But you need to hold on to your money. You need to spend it wisely. Okay, here's another charity that just got on my nerves, and I heard it on mainstream radio, especially like sports talk radio, and I even heard it on some mainstream like rock and radio stations. This commercial, Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. La na 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 Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. Bum bum bum. 1-877 Cars for Kids. ARS Cars for Kids. Yeah, you get the idea. If you've heard that, you know what I'm talking about. And that's Cars with a K, by the way. So I would hear that. Like 5 years ago, I'd hear it all the time when I'd drive into work. That commercial was everywhere. And that jingle is very catchy. Boom, 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 1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. So, they want you to donate your car. Now, and I would listen to that and I'd be like, what do kids need cars for? Kids don't need cars. You want me to donate my car? Just to help kids? And then, it seemed to have gone away, and then recently, a couple weeks ago, I heard the commercial again, so I know it's back. Now, I checked out their website, Cars for Kids, and they admit on the website that they take your car, and you can donate boats and stuff, and they'll sell them. Okay, so that's the whole goodwill thing all over again. I'm going to give you something in mind so you can turn around and sell it. What? What? And if they do give any money, and I'm sure they do give money to these kids. If you look carefully, it's kids or children only of a certain tribe of people. And this particular tribe of people is the top of the food chain. They from what I can see, they do not need any financial help whatsoever. So, watch out for these charities, right? And I propose the idea, and I think a lot of you older folks already know this, but you're just supporting these people's jobs. You're paying their salaries. These people that work at these nonprofit 501c3. And if you don't know what 501c3 is, that's the IRS tax code for tax exempt status. And I believe very firmly that if the government doesn't tax you, that means they're dealing with you. And I told you that I know an organization that looked into becoming a 501c3 tax exempt organization, and they found that if they took that tax exemption, they would have to compromise their First Amendment rights. They had lawyers go through it. So I recommend, keeping your hard-earned money. And if you see somebody in need, somebody in your neighborhood, and of course you should help the people in your neighborhood and the people that you know, first and foremost, your own tribe, whatever that may be. Because if you help your tribe and the people around you, then it spreads. Anyway, Thanks for listening. This is your humble servant, Mr. Smith. Please have a blessed day, and I hope you have one. And please like and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. We need to spread the word and get people thinking, because I see a lot of zombies out there, and we need to stimulate them and get them thinking. And don't let anybody ever guilt you into donating to some charity that you'd have no idea where that money's really going, if you don't feel like donating. All right. Class dismissed.